What's going on, guys? Oh my Godzilla here to review the Bandai Dream 5 box set that we got in the Movie Monsters series last year, 2024. Got it just the day before the new year, so I couldn't get the video out in time for 2024. But first review of 2025, not so bad. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Oh my God! This box is gorgeous, but it's also giant. 19 inches that way, 11 that way, and like 8 that way. So a giant box, but I want to take a second and look at how cool this thing is. So we have awesome artwork of the 5 figures featured. Very, very cool there. Taking a look at all the sides, we do have the Dream 5 kind of logo, 2024 box edition, which leads me to maybe think they might do individually tagged figures, which would be very cool because I'm disappointed that we don't get tags on these. This side, continuation of the artwork there, kind of Anguirus tail, Ghidorah wing, gravity beam. The back kind of looks the same there. This, another continuation. You've got Mechagodzilla's little wrist, finger missiles shooting out. So very, very cool box work. I'm very glad that we got such a cool, intricate packaging. Nothing on the bottom there. But a very cool box that I just had to show off in this video. Guys, I also want to show off that inside this box, the reason it's so big is literally Ghidorah takes up half of it. And the other 4 figures take up the other half. So Ghidorah's wingspan, massive. Kicking things off with Ghidorah 1964. We definitely have a very nice looking Ghidorah in this figure. King Ghidorah is going to stand at the head, or at the top of the neck, about almost 7 inches tall. At the top of the wing, about 8. And then nose to tail is actually almost 13 inches long. So pretty sizable figure for sure. Right off the bat, lots of cool details on the face. We got kind of his little fur patches, whatever you want to call them, going down the side of the neck. They are a pretty hard cutoff at the headline, and no, there is not head articulation on this. Another thing right off the bat, the heads, very, very clustered. In the promo image, they were definitely a lot more spread out. I'm not sure if you could kind of, work them this way and kind of maybe put something in between them, and maybe they would start to stay. Also, interesting enough, the wings are very interestingly posed. I did not expect the wings to be so kind of pushed back and then fanned out to the they kind of fan out a little bit to the side, which actually looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's the way the wings kind of are. I mean, you could definitely tell this wing is pushed further out to the side than this wing, which results, unless his feet are kind of in this position, he's going to fall over. I'm not sure if that's exclusive to mine, so if you bought this set, let me know in the comments below. Do you have to pose your Ghidorah like this, or do I have to do some hairdryer editing perhaps? Probably, my guess is the hairdryer editing. But starting with the bottom of the feet, great, great detail. And, what in sculpt. So obviously Ghidorah never really receives too much in terms of multiple paint colors up until really the head. So same deal with that. I could have gone with a different coloration on the toe claws. Would have been kind of cool if they were a little bit darker or something. But the detail is just phenomenal. The toe claws, the toe nail beds look very good. Moving up the leg, obviously we get those just classic Ghidorah scales, full body covered. Looks very, very good. Everything looks good. Moving down the tail, again, very good. We have these nice little pieces at the end to kind of wrap the tails off. And they are actually kind of double layered. You can kind of see there's one on either side, and they kind of meet in the middle there. So that's pretty cool. Wings look good. The detail is fine. Very sleek and nice to kind of the membrane-y part. Looks good. They're decently thick, too. The back of them looks good. Very nice detail there. Pretty minimal. The Ghidorah's wings are always pretty minimal, but I think that's part of what makes them pretty cool. Again, same deal with the head and neck area. All the great scales. The spines look good. You can kind of see the back spines are even kind of chunky and segmented almost. Moving up as they get smaller towards the head. And then the head sculpts are pretty solid. Good detail. He's got the face looks really good, especially like the top of the jaw. A lot of fun, intricate details there. As you can kind of check that out on each sculpt. The noses are there, and then kind of some bulkiness kind of in between, some little spikes coming in here and there. Looks very good. The teeth are pretty decent. I could have gone for a little bit more paint, different, just a different paint on them. It looks like we have 2 different head sculpts. We have the 2 open mouths kind of here and here, and then a closed mouth whose teeth are also leave a little bit to be desired, but the eyes on this figure look very good. I think they did a great job painting the eyes. Very accurate paint job. Good color on the eyes as well. It kind of has like a reddish outside, and then it kind of turns orange, black, and then finally kind of a goldish pupil. So a lot of good color used in those head sculpts. Faces look very, very good. Articulation on this figure, as you could probably tell, is pretty minimal. We get 360 on those legs, and that is going to be it, unfortunately. I wish the head's articulated, or the tail, and I kind of do miss I felt like the posability, it looks a little bit better, and I guess these are tucked a little far back, as opposed to being just flat out wide. I kind of miss the rotating wings, though, but obviously this guy would not be as much of a shelf hog as what is probably my favorite Ghidorah figure. This is the 2023-91 Ghidorah. I think the color on this one, you know, everything, this figure's Ghidorah is just very gorgeous. But obviously, check out what a shelf hog he is. So, not quite as much of a shelf hog. So that's nice. He's a little taller, which is cool. I always like a little height, but I'm glad he's not super wide. It's like that's going to kind of help the displaying of the shelf. One more figure I wanted to show him side by side with is the 2024 Godzilla figure we got for 1964 Godzilla. Not bad sizing there. It doesn't make me too, doesn't leave too much to be desired. I think that's pretty decent. Like I said, I like my Ghidorahs a little bit bigger than Godzilla, but that's okay. I think this sizing is fine for me. So there's a Godzilla movie monster series figure to scale this guy up to. Again, none of these figures have tags, unfortunately. I wish they were tagged. It's one of the downsides of kind of the box sets is they don't do a tag. I think we maybe will probably eventually see repaints and re-releases of these figures with tags, but for now, no tags. But there is the Ghidorah 1964. This Kamacuras figure, based off of his appearance in Son of Godzilla 1967, was definitely an anticipated figure for me, and he's way bigger than I thought he would be. Kind of nose to, or, you know, the tail to the front of his claw is about 8 inches. He's a little short, obviously, because he's a little bug, but standing about 4 inches in height there. So, but this figure's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And since I'm talking about the size, let me just compare it to the other Kamacuras we've gotten. As far as I know, this is the only other Kamacuras figure that exists, really, for Bandai at least, 1993. Bandai figure. There's the tag. It's detached, unfortunately, but I just wanted to show the size of these two Kamacurai, whatever you want to call them. So there they are. I definitely like seeing them side by side. It's very cool to have another Kamacuras figure finally in the collection. Checking out the backs, obviously green and brown. I love this Kamacuras' eyes versus this guy just kind of has the big bulbous eyes, whereas he's got kind of all the moving into the detail of this figure. We'll start with the eyes since I'm already talking about them, but I love that these, you know, they very much look like bug eyes. Very, very cool. A lot of good color on them. They're kind of an orangey, but there's almost like a goldish, you know, top to them that gives them just kind of a little more of a natural shine. It's very cool. Very good detail and color on those eyes. Obviously, the majority of the body kind of this maroon color, but we do have some, you know, kind of blacks in there, and then a little lighter of a maroonish color on the wings, and then kind of those black stripes throughout there. The feet do have great little, you know, nice little colors there. The detail on this figure is very good. I'm loving, you know, the whole body, how it, you know, he's got the bigger spines, but then he's got these little, you know, the smaller little nodules, and then the rest of the whole body is texturized. Very, very cool. Same with the head. You can see the texture kind of behind the eyes, around the eyes, little spikes right there in the front. And then very good, he's got good detail on the head and mouth. Obviously, nice coloration of the antennas. And then a nice white stripe kind of going down the face. But then, like, even the detail on these is very, very good. You know, nice little move, you know, here, kind of moving under. And even the very, you know, the underside of the head. Let's see if we can move those arms out of the way a little bit to check out just the great detail on the entirety of the bottom of this figure. The bottom of the body, good, you know, very segmented, nice. He's very, you know, he's got these kind of fur areas kind of in the close part of his body before he moves into kind of this kind of textured area. No color on the inside here, but this big claw does have the nice white detail there. His smaller, I never really understood why he's got two different stylized hands. I mean, it's that way in the movie and everything. And same with this Bandai. No white on this side, but the different hands looks good. Tons of detail on this figure. I'm very glad we got another Kamacuras. It's been long overdue for sure, and a very articulated figure. The 360 out of the head, these arms, you know, the legs, these back legs don't move, and the front legs do. So, but I mean, and the back legs kind of get in the way of a 360, but good movement here, and then this one spins a little differently. You know, so not quite 360 out of either of them. And then all 4 back legs are going to be fixed, but those front legs or hands or arms, whatever you want to call them on the bugs, very articulate, so he's pretty posable. And then, like I said, the head, and then this movement section of the body, that is going to be fixed. So just articulation of the head and the arms, but it's very, very posable. It's really nice to have another Kamacuras figure in the collection. I'm very thrilled with this figure. And one more figure to quickly show him next to this is the 1968 Godzilla figure in the Movie Monster series. It's the tagged version here. Just wanted to show off kind of how he sizes up against a Godzilla in the Movie Monster series. Pretty good sizing. I definitely like this. Very nice. There's the two side by side. Alrighty, our Gabera from All Monsters Attack in 1969 film. Stands about 7 inches in height. Very skinny little guy, no tail or anything on him. But I'm super glad we got a Gabera figure. I've been begging for a Gabera figure for ages, and I'm not even kidding. Like, go back in live streams. I have them 2 years ago saying we need a Gabera figure. Very, very cool. Starting with the bottom. Good detail, once again, on the feet. Toe claws are painted differently, which is nice. There's lots of different textures kind of used on the feet. He's going to got this little line going up, kind of chunky little sections of the foot there. And then we kind of get into his little peppery cobblestone body. Very, very nice. Moving into the chest and abdomen area, you know, kind of got the ab sections or whatever you want to call them, but it's mixed in with these nice little kind of dots and stuff, more of the kind of cobblestone pattern. Very, very cool. Moving up the neck, kind of the same little textured chunk sections, and then the arms, more of the cobblestone area, but inside the arm, we kind of missed some of that, maybe probably for articulation stuff, but it's cool that we have a different kind of texture. They didn't just do nothing. Very cool. Inside of the hand is actually going to be detailed a little bit too. The inside of the hand claws are not painted, unfortunately, but that's fine. As the top of the hand, the hand claws are painted, and we do have a nice different texture on the top of the hand there. And it's very cool how we have two different hand sculpts. You know, normally it seems like that's pretty easy for them to just kind of copy paste, you know, the reverse side of the hand sculpt. We do have an open hand and a closed hand, so very cool there. Moving to checking out the back of this, I do have a weird little patch here, which I don't love, but the rest of the figure is very good. Moving into the face of the figure, this is a very, very nice looking figure. He's kind of got his little yellowy orange hairs moving through there. His little spines look great. They're painted very well. It kind of does a good job of fading from the green color into that kind of yellow. They're pretty much all 100% painted, and there's no paint spillage onto the neck and the back of the head of the figure, so that's very, very good. The head, the kind of the face looks very good, and lots of different colors on the eyes, painted very accurately. The big old nose, kind of, he's got his big, you know, frown lines going, and then the mouth. The teeth are painted very well. They're not quite individually sculpted, but they are painted very, very well on there. And it looks like they are kind of, some of the teeth are kind of sculpted to have their own little, you know, they pop off a little bit off the gums there. And then he does have kind of, you can see a little bit of a tongue sculpted in there, so that's very nice as well. Top of the mouth doesn't really seem to feature anything, but a very, very cool figure. I'm very, like I said, I'm super glad we finally got Gabera in the Movie Monster Series, a 6-inch figure of Gabera. We have not had one from Bandai yet. He's always going to scale with your Godzilla 68, that same figure we just took a look at. So he's going to be a little taller than Godzilla, which is fine with me. So that scaling looks very good to me. And then backing him off just a little bit, squeeze it in to make room for, this is the Minya figure from Destroy All Monsters. So very good look there at how he's going to scale up against a Minya figure. I definitely like that. He's towering over him a little bit. I wish he was a little bit bigger than the Minya, or I really just wish this Minya was a little bit smaller, but that's okay. Here's the three. They look very, very good, and it is about time we finally got ourselves a 6-inch Bandai Gabera figure. Super glad to finally have him. One of the small downsides of Gabera is he's not a very articulated figure. Obviously, you can tell this whole top section is just one big piece, so no neck articulation, no head articulation. We do get a good easy 360 out of both those arms, and obviously the legs are both fixed as well. No tail articulation for his tiny, tiny little tail. But unfortunately, no articulation. That waist is you know, glue sealed. But I mean, I suppose you could probably break that seal if you wanted to, and maybe get some waist articulation out of him. But I'm not going to go breaking the glue seal just to get a waist articulation that we don't really need. The main thing I'd want is a head articulation, but unfortunately, none there. But aside from that, this figure, very, very impressive. Next up is our Mecha Godzilla 1974 from his obvious film debut, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Standing approximately 6.5 inches in height. He's not a very long figure. Obviously, Mechagodzilla's got a pretty small tail. Tail of face is less than 5 inches, but this figure, very good. As you can see, very nice silver paint apps, multiple colors of silver too. We got the main silver, and he's got a darker, kind of more of a gunmetal silver, and some of these bordering pieces, and on the kind of the compression little areas that he's got in between his arms and legs. Very cool. They didn't quite utilize every section. You know, it could have been painted there as well. It could have been painted on the knee section as well, but it's better than nothing for sure. And then, of course, as we've come to expect with detail in Mechagodzilla, very impressive. Got the nice segmented feet there, moving up the body. Lots of bolts there, you know, screws, boom, moving there. And then we got these kind of joints on the knee, not painted here, but yes, painted on the thigh. Moving up, got more great detail on those kind of bolt screw sections. Nice there. I like this little piece that's kind of obviously holding those two, that, you know, the front and back of that knee brace in place. Good spikes on the knees. Moving up the body. Good detail. Again, we have that kind of darker silver here surrounding that area there. There's a nice little yellow. Moving up, same detail, great little patterns on this section. Awesome. The dot there looks good. Tons of detail around the head and neck area. Look at all these little screw holes and, you know, pieces of detail that they put in on this figure. Very good. The nice MG, very accurately painted. And again, they did do that darker paint color here. I wish it was on this elbow joint, but it is on the shoulder. The back detail looks very good. Again, all of his little spines looking very nice and neat. His segmented tail looks very, very good all the way down to the bottom. The little circle cannon pieces placed in nicely. And then the head and face, very good. Kind of more of that darker silver paint kind of on that side of the neck there. Good red, yellow eyes look very good. This figure is definitely detail. Very, very good. He's even got, you know, he's got detail on this little red piece You can see those kind of little dots painted in there. The one small complaint, I guess, could be the mouth, the kind of tongue cannons that he's got or whatever, are unpainted. So that's a little disappointing, but that's not the end of the world. And then the teeth could be a little bit nicer. I wish they were a little, something a little in there just to make those teeth pop a little bit better. But look at the detail on this little ridge here. So many tiny little pieces of detail. Very, very impressive. I want to quickly side-by-side this Mechagodzilla with the Bandai EX Mechagodzilla. So that would be this guy. So obviously, very, a little bit different here. A little bit more extreme on the paint here. I think they did a little bit better job. They painted, they painted these sections a little bit better. They did paint the inside of the mouth on this, guys. You can see that the red in there. So, a little bit less than this figure, but the silver pops out really well. I love how light this figure is. It just really stands out and pops because that paint is just so bright. There's our side-by-side with these two different Mechagodzillas. And then obviously this Mechagodzilla going to be a little bit different in terms of articulation. Speaking of, let's take a peek at that for this Mechagodzilla. Easy 360 on those arms. Head articulation, unfortunately, nothing. Body articulation, unfortunately, nothing. Legs, nothing. Whereas, if you take a look at the EX figure, he's got the head, he's got the arms, he's got the midsection, and he's got the legs. So a ton of more articulation on this figure, leaving a little bit to be desired on this newer Mechagodzilla. I don't know, especially the head. I don't know why they refuse to give us head articulation on this guy. It seems like it'd be so easy to just make this head just a separate piece and give us head articulation. But that said, this figure, very, very impressive. Bandai definitely did a great job, and I'm really a huge fan of just the intricate detail they did. And I really love the fact that they painted these joint sections a darker color, because that always bothers me on some of these other figures when they miss it. It's like these were, these were those big dark sections with that kind of compression stuff that allowed the joints to move well, mostly for the suit actor probably, but it looked great. It was very fun to have, and I definitely was missing that on previous figure releases when they missed it. So very glad that paint did make its way back into this figure. A very impressive release from Bandai indeed. And a quick sizing between him and the 74 Mechagodzilla that came out, or the 74 regular Godzilla that came out last year. Very good sizing here. They look very good next to each other. Definitely a fan of how that looks. There's those two figures side by side. Last but certainly not least is our Anguirus 1972 figure. So this Anguirus is actually based off of his appearance in Godzilla vs. Gigan. So very cool to get this Anguirus figure added to the roster. Starting with detail, which is immaculate, by the way. We have great detail on the bottoms of the feet, and those toe claws are painted because the bottoms of the feet are actually facing up. The tops of the feet are facing down. Great detail, but no paint, unfortunately, on those toes, but that is okay. But as you can see, great detail. You kind of got the wrinkles here on the bottom of the foot because it's a little crunched up, and then you got these great kind of segmented, chunky sections. You got kind of the ankle guardlets or whatever you got, and then getting into the scales that kind of go up the whole leg. And I'm loving these guys. Check out these little extra spikes, spines, whatever you want to call them, on the back of his kind of ankle area. Very cool that they have those unpainted, which is okay, but the detail is just gorgeous. Moving into the body, good kind of segmented little body on Anguirus with great little kind of scaly details moving in throughout there, going all the way from up into the neck. And once we get into the neck, we kind of get some of these little nodules kind of coming up into here. So great detail, lots of different changes in texture. I love it for sure. Bottoms of the front hands, a little undetailed, but there's some there. And then the paint is present on the front toe hands. Good detail here. Some more of those awesome little spikes. They just add so much to this figure that, they're not, I wouldn't complain if they weren't there, but the fact that they're there is super cool. One thing I would say, again, I wish they were painted, but very awesome that these are present. Moving into the tail, guys, great detail. Once again, you can see the tail is kind of just texturized all throughout. If you ignore the spines, which look great, great texture on the entirety of the tail. It looks very good and textured. And then you have all these spikes and spines, and it just is very, very cool. Unpainted tail, that's fine. The spines on his shell look great. A good paint, and I really love how they kind of, the back is unpainted, which I could use as a complaint, but it actually I actually like it because you can get so many kind of different various, almost like different colors, whatever angle you look at it from. If you look at it from the front, the whole thing is painted and it kind of gives that brighter shine. The side, though, it just kind of it just looks a little darker. It almost looks like they came out with just the lack of paint almost looks like they did paint the backside, the backs of them, which is just cool because if you're rotating, paying attention to that shell the whole time, it almost seems like it changes colors just based off of the angle you look at it. So I actually really enjoy that. Very cool. The neck of this figure, good. Get some more of those scales. And then the face looks very good. The teeth could be painted a little bit better or sculpted a little bit better even. Leaving a little bit to be desired, but they're okay, all things considered. The eyes, very good. A couple different colors in there. Pretty accurate paint in there. I love his little crown. Looks good. A couple different colors on the paint there. Details more present throughout the top of the head. Looks very good. Bottom of the mouth, again, Got more of those nodules we point out. Good detail. The nose is sculpted well. A very, very great sculpt on this Anguirus figure for sure. Jumping into articulation, the head, tricky, looks articulated, not. You could probably break a steel and maybe get some articulation, but I'm not going to try that. The arms, I could probably go 360, but I'd risk kind of scraping along here, which I want to avoid, just in terms of any potential paint scratches. So I don't want to do that. Same with the back legs. They, you kind of have to scrape them past these individual spines coming out here, but plenty of articulation aside from that. And the tail, guys, is actually going to be articulated, so that's pretty cool. So you got the tail and both arms and legs. No head on Anguirus, unfortunately, but that is pretty darn awesome, all things considered. Now, I wanted to show off our Anguirus figure up against a couple of figures. This is one of the older Bandai figures that we have of Anguirus, just kind of showing them side by side. Pretty similar sculpts. Obviously, they're different, but fairly similar. You can tell Anguirus is Anguirus. There he is. And one more Anguirus, just an older movie monster series figure. This guy being kind of one of the smaller. This is the blue tag Godzilla figure here. So very cool to see Anguirus kind of getting another sculpt, a brand new sculpt. Anguirus has gotten a lot of love. We got that one, got the 55 last year. So very cool to see Anguirus getting some love, different sculpts, different takes on Anguirus. Very, very cool there. Here's Anguirus up against a Gigan. This just being our tagged Gigan here. Just wanted to show his sizing there. Perfect height to just run face first into that buzzsaw like we see in the film. And the 2023 release of Godzilla 1973, one of the closer figures that I could compare this 72 Anguirus to that was a Godzilla movie monster series, just so you could kind of get a feel for that height. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our Godzilla Bandai Dream 5 box, equivalent to, I think, as close as we're going to get to a Bandai 70th Anniversary Memorial box, something I was hoping we'd get an official release on, but I think this box will kind of have to take the place of a 70th Anniversary Memorial box. Again, featuring Ghidorah 64, Kamacuras 67, Gabera, Mechagodzilla 74, and Anguirus 72. Guys, a very, very awesome, unique set. Again, I do wish we got these figures tagged, but like I also said, I'd be shocked if in the next year and a half, we don't see re-releases of all 5 of these figures with some repaints and a tag added to them. So definitely looking forward to that, looking forward to comparing them to the two of them some side by side, kind of seeing the tagged version versus the Dream 5 box set version. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this set in the comments section below. Did anyone else pick this set up, and are you enjoying it as much as I am? I know I certainly am. Very awesome set. Bandai definitely knocked this one out of the park. I'm looking forward to future releases. I think 2025 is going to be a great year for Bandai, for Godzilla, for all sorts of collectors. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to have some fun with you guys on this one. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next one.